From the heart of Hollywood, the bright lights of the studio shone down on the stage where the famous Newlywed Game was about to begin. The air was thick with excitement and the gentle hum of an expectant audience. Today, 4 unique couples sat ready to share their stories and test the strength of their marital knowledge. Couple number 1, who celebrated their marriage 6 months ago, were Suzanne and Ted Fleet. Next to them sat couple number 2, Kristen and Brian Lomas, who had said their I do's 4 months ago. The third pair, Shanti and Ricky Carlos, had tied the knot just 4.5 weeks ago, still basking in the very early glow of marriage. Finally, couple number 4, Jorna and Bill Costello, had exchanged rings 13 months ago, making them the veterans of the group. The energetic music swelled as the star of the show, Bob Eubanks, stepped into the spotlight. "Thank you," he said with a warm smile, "thank you very much. Hello, everybody. Hello and welcome to the Newlywed Game. We are so glad you could join us today." He looked over at the 4 wonderful couples, his eyes twinkling with mischief. "Are you ready to play the game?" The crowd cheered in response. "We will start the show by asking the husbands some questions. And in order to do that, we must ask the ladies to go off to our soundproof area." As the wives were led away, Bob turned his attention back to the men. "While the ladies are leaving, I would like to remind our husbands that I will be asking you some 5-point questions. You will be answering these questions as you predict your wife will answer the same question when she returns. Remember now, if her answer matches your prediction, won't that be fun? Because you get 5 points. And it is the one couple with the most points at the end of the show that wins a fabulous second honeymoon." The game officially commenced. "Gentlemen, here is the first of your 5-point questions," Bob announced. "Gentlemen, which of the following will your wife say you think she did last in a public place? Something brainless, something reckless, or something tasteless?" He turned to Bill first. "What did she do last, Bill, in a public place?" Bill thought for a moment and replied, "Something brainless, probably." Bob nodded and moved to Ricky. "I will say something reckless," Ricky answered with a grin. "She did something reckless?" Bob asked, leaning in. "Yes, sir. We kind of went on our honeymoon, and we were on our way back, and she sort of kind of got real frisky in the car, and we kind of pulled over." "In the car?" Bob repeated, amused. "Yes, sir," Ricky confirmed. Brian was next. "I would say something brainless," he stated. When Bob asked for more detail, Brian explained, "Yeah, on our honeymoon, she accidentally locked the keys in the car." Ted agreed with the theme of forgetfulness for his wife, Suzanne. "I would say brainless as well, Bob, simply because she forgot the car keys on our way out the door this morning." The second question took a more romantic, albeit humorous, turn. "Where will your wife say is the one place you know she has always wanted to make whoopee, but it just has not happened yet?" Ricky did not hesitate. "I would say the beach." Brian followed suit. "I would also say the beach. We never had a chance there. We just moved out here, so now maybe we will give it a try." Bob laughed. "Let us know so we can all stay away." Ted also chose the beach, leading Bob to remark that it was going to be a very crowded ocean. Bill, however, had a different idea. "I would have to say a real expensive hotel room," he said. For the final question of the first round, Bob asked the men to look at each other. "How will your wife say you would complete this sentence? Even though I am dressed pretty snazzy today, I know my wife would think that I would look even better if I dressed more like husband number blank." Brian looked at his peers and chose number 3, noting the casual, nice short-sleeved shirt. Ted chose husband number 2 for his necktie action. Bill went with number 3 because he liked the kickback, cool style. Ricky, after a moment of confusion, chose number 4. After a brief commercial break featuring a marathon for the game talkabout, the ladies returned to the stage. Bob explained that their husbands' predictions were recorded on cards. "Suzanne," he began, "which of the following does your husband think you did last in a public place? Tasteless, reckless, or brainless?" "Brainless," she answered. That was a match for 5 points. Kristen also said brainless, matching Brian's prediction. However, Shanti said brainless while Ricky had predicted reckless, leading to a humorous story about their drive back from Las Vegas at 3 o'clock in the morning. Jorna guessed reckless, but Bill had predicted brainless, missing the mark despite her story about stopping in the middle of a foggy freeway. The beach proved to be a popular answer for the second question as well. Kristen and Shanti both matched their husbands by saying the beach. Jorna surprised everyone by saying a lighthouse, which did not match Bill's expensive hotel room. Suzanne said she wanted to camp in a tent in their newly renovated backyard, missing Ted's prediction of the beach. In the style round, Shanti, Jorna, Suzanne, and Kristen all successfully identified which husband their spouses had picked, showing a remarkable understanding of their partner's fashion tastes. The game intensified as the wives took their turn to predict their husband's thoughts for 10 points each. If your husband were your personal trainer in bedroom workouts, Bob asked, will he say that lately you wish he would give you more sessions, less sessions, or longer sessions? Shanti and Kristen both opted for more sessions, citing a new baby and a new job as reasons for needing more quality time. Suzanne and Jorna, however, both said less sessions, with Jorna jokingly calling Bill an animal who drinks too much caffeine. The next question asked what was painful to watch the husbands do because they looked so ridiculous. Kristen mentioned Brian biting his fingers. Suzanne and Shanti both pointed to their husbands dancing. Jorna described Bill peeling and ripping off his nails, which she found particularly unsettling. Then came the plastic surgeon question. Suzanne thought her husband's stomach should be smaller. Jorna suggested Bill's mouth. Shanti pointed to Ricky's forehead, calling it a family tradition for the carless men. Kristen also chose the spare tire around Brian's waist. For the bonus question about sports seasons, the answers varied between summer for jet skiing and winter for football. The husbands returned to verify these answers. Brian and Kristen struggled with the session question, but Ricky and Shanti matched on more sessions. Bill and Jorna matched on less sessions, while Ted and Suzanne missed when Ted guessed longer sessions. When asked about their ridiculous habits, Brian admitted to biting his fingers, making a match. Ricky and Bill both missed their wives' answers about dancing and nail peeling. Ted, despite his confidence, missed the dancing answer, even after Bob jokingly made him perform a gopher dance on stage. The plastic surgery round brought more laughs. Bill missed Jorna's mouth answer, while Ted correctly guessed his wife would mention his stomach. Brian also matched on the stomach, which the judge accepted as synonymous with spare tire. Ricky correctly identified his forehead as the target of the question, jokingly calling it a 5-head. Before the final bonus question, the prize was announced, a spectacular trip to Spain, staying at the Hotel Malia Don Pepe in Marbella. The excitement was palpable. The final question asked the husbands the season of their favorite professional sports championship. Ted correctly said summer, bringing his total to 35. Bill said winter, but Jorna had said summer, leaving them at 15. Ricky correctly said winter, jumping to 55 points. Finally, Brian correctly identified winter, reaching a grand total of 60 points. Brian and Kristen Lomas were declared the grand prize winners. Congratulations to you, Bob cheered as the audience erupted. Have a good time. Thanks to all of our couples, and thanks to you. I am Bob Eubanks. See you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.